Hi there, my name is Ewan Nicholson. Welcome to Remembering Love, my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be asking the question, is it better to meet our emotional wounds with kindness or with willpower? Now, over the course of my 25-year healing journey, I would have said for a big bulk of that, I would have answered willpower. Well, I probably wouldn't have answered that, but that was probably my approach. As far as I was concerned, my problem was I didn't try hard enough. I didn't push hard enough to change and grow and move forward. And if I could just pick up this kind of huge tire of dysfunction and sort of throw it over, then everything would be good and I'd just kind of get on and move forward. And the reality is, over trying and failing a number of times over and over and over, I came to the conclusion that that method of grit and force and determination it just didn't work, certainly for me. And gradually what I came to understand is it was better to meet my wounds with loving kindness, compassion, gentleness, and understanding than it was to meet them with kind of hard work and determination and grit. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a place for determination. There is moments in our life where we are required to be resilient and focused and determined. But where that determination arises from is probably more the important question rather than we have it. And for a lot of us, to begin with, that sense of kind of go for it arises from a deep sense of shame, a sense of panic, a sense of anxiety, a sense of living up to other people's expectations, and it just ends up unsustainable. So what I've discovered is that approaching my wounds with kindness it works, and it works for a number of different reasons. Now, the first thing is that when you view yourself from a position of kindness and you view your wounds from a position of kindness, the very act of doing that in a weird kind of way creates a separation from the wound and that which you are witnessing or that which you're looking at, and then the act of loving observation or kind observation and noticing. So the very act of witnessing and approaching and looking at our wounds from a position of loving kindness has a way of kind of peeling us apart from the intensity of that dysfunction and creating a kind of an inner separation between the wound and the awareness of the wound and the loving awareness of the wound. So that's one thing. Another thing is that as you do this, as you start looking at yourself more from a position of kindness, in a strange kind of way, it takes a charge out of the intensity or the weight of the dysfunction itself or the pain. So just looking at it feels like it's helpful. And we've all had that as children when we graze our knee or we hurt ourselves and we come running to our mother or father, and they just look at it and give us a little bit of attention and put a band-aid. There's a feeling of just the act of being cared for and the act of being acknowledged seems to take some of the sting away. So there is a kind of a psychological version of that as we look at our wounds with kindness, it does just take some of the charge out. One of the other things is as we come at our wounds from a position of loving kindness, a funny thing kind of happens because being kind to ourselves is not a passive thing, that it's not just, taking a day spa and treating ourselves. It's, you can do all those things, but it's a deeper perspective that we look at ourselves from the lens of compassion. Then determination and activity can arise out of that, but it arises from a sense of love and care rather than shame, guilt, and anxiety. And when we act from love and care, that is sustainable. We are tapping into a source of energy that is literally infinite. And when we act from love and care, it enables us to do things and act in a way that we wouldn't from a position of shame and difficulty. So from a position of love, as we witness our wounds from loving kindness, the activity of setting boundaries, the activity of really caring for ourselves, the activity of doing what's in our best interests, all of that arises as we view ourselves more and more from a position of loving kindness. So if you're at a point where you're getting a sense of, I've got these issues I need to deal with, and you feel that urge that, I've got to write my to-do list and I've got to get things done, and I saw this Tony Robbins video and I'm going to go for it. And look, don't get me wrong, all those things do work for some people, but for me, it didn't. And if you're at that position and I'm saying to you, think about this from a position of love and kindness, for some people that may feel very abstract. It may feel like it's easy for me to say it, but what does it even look like? Or how do we even get a sense of what that means? And if you are feeling that's abstract and you have a whole history of internal narratives and internal dialogue that are constantly kind of whipping you into action, think about how you are with children, or think about how most of us are with children. I have 2 teenage daughters, and over the course of their lifetime, when they've come to me upset or distressed, the degree of care and compassion I show them is often the degree and the severity of what they're upset about. And if they've come to me over the years with things that have really upset them or they're really kind of chewed up over, I will meet that more or less. I've not been a perfect father, but more or less I will meet that with understanding, with concern. I'll try to listen. It does really worry me. I'm actively trying to support them. But what I've never done is said, what you need to shut up. You need to pull yourself by the bootstraps. You need to stop moaning, and you just need to get on with things, and you need to try a little bit harder and dry your eyes and stop being such a baby. I have never said that to my daughters. Who does? Who says these things? I would never say that to a friend. But what's interesting is how we can be so severe and harsh with ourselves in a way we wouldn't be with anyone. So if you're trying to get a sort of an intuitive sense of what is it to care for ourselves, what is it to look at our issues with love and kindness, just think about how you are with children, or think about how you are with a friend in distress. Think about how you approach other people's pain, and you'll get a pretty clear sense of what that looks like for you. And lastly, what I'd just like to say is be kind to yourself, because it is hard out there. Deciding to kind of work on yourself and deal with your issues as opposed to kind of just numbing out and checking out of life, it takes a lot of courage, and it's a painful route. And there are enough messages of get on with it and be tough, in our media, in our culture, and in our internal processes. We really don't need any more. If we need any more of anything, it is kindness towards ourselves and towards others. So it's tough out there. So please, I implore you, I encourage you, be kind to yourself. Not only is it a good thing, but it works. I hope this has made sense. I hope this has helped you. Please like and subscribe. Come back anytime. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you.